Hi, folks, and welcome to the second online tutorial about writing our Huckleberry Finn essay. Yesterday was all about resources and what resources Mr. Restad has provided to you in Google Classroom, as well as what resources we can use from the internet in order to create good, strong, self-driven opinions rather than just using the internet to copy and paste and be completely stunted in our mental growth and development. But today is all about taking those resources and getting organized, getting a start to what we're going to write our papers about. So two goals for this video are to define a topic, make sure we pick a stance once we define that topic, and then I'm going to explain to you what HatMat is. You're excited for HatMat. So step number one is I want you to select a prompt. So if you haven't done so yet, pause this video right now, go to Google Classroom, and examine the prompts that Mr. Restad has outlined for you. If you're not sure where they are, Google Classroom, Huck Finn essay prompts, they load up here, and then you check them out. Pick 1, 2, 3, or 4. For the purpose of argument, I'm going to pick number 1, and I'm going to develop this idea of Huck's moral development throughout the story. Now, I want you to remember there are no right or wrong answers in English, only supported or unsupported answers. So it doesn't really matter what you decide to write on, it matters how you decide to defend that idea. So I've decided to trace Huck's moral development, and I give you all these ideas of tracing Huck's lies, Huck's decisions regarding Jim, his refusal to be civilized and run off down the Mississippi. But ultimately what piqued my interest about this story was Huck's own awareness of his moral system. And obviously, you were going to have your own interests in this book, so I want you to try to infuse whatever topic you're talking about with maybe something that interests you. Now, the stance that I'm particularly going to take is that Huck doesn't actually change throughout the novel in terms of his own morality. Where he starts off in chapter 1 is right where he ends off in chapter 42. The only difference is he's now more aware of his own moral system, and he's confirmed that his moral system is one that is correct and that society should appreciate. Obviously, you can choose different things to argue. You could say, no, Huck is a totally different person from chapter 1 to chapter 42. I'd love for you to argue with me, and I'd love to see your resources. So with our stance in mind, with this direction that we're going to point our boat downstream in, I want us to start thinking about that introduction. How are we going to set this whole thing up? There's a great acronym that we can use called HatMat. I tried it out. It's actually a pretty handy way to write an introduction to a literary essay. And all it is an acronym that means hook, author, title, main characters, a short summary of the plot, and then finally our thesis. HatMat. And I've got an example right here. So I tried this out. Turns out it worked pretty well. And this is how it looks. So the H in HatMat is your hook. Hooks are generalizations about the topic that you're going to write about. I don't want this essay to be just about what Huck does or what Huck and Mark Twain's relationship are. The nice thing about literature is that we want to broaden our horizons by reading it. We want to take this book that was written by a guy 150 years ago, this dead white guy, and apply the ideas and the thoughts that are explored in this novel to our own lives and to our own world. So I've decided to do that by talking about morality, where I say morality, a person's compass between right and wrong, is shaped uniquely through the experiences a person has throughout life. Parental scolding, a particular strong sense of guilt, or a wrongdoing done onto a loved one are all potential instances of solidification of conscience and morality. There's my hook. 2 sentences, and I put some thought into it, but not crazy, not over the top, just something to catch readers' interest. All right, rest of HatMat. Mark Twain, the author, examines the complex relationship of morality and action, a continuation of the hook, in his classic novel, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Title. And remember, titles are italicized. And a brief A is for a brief summary. As Huck, the young protagonist, travels south in search of personal freedom, all the while harboring a runaway slave and friend, Jim. So in this one sentence, I take care of introducing the main characters and giving a brief explanation of what they're doing, why we're talking about these guys. And finally, I come to T C is generally going to be our thesis, but right now we don't quite have a strong thesis. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in our stance. So what I've written is, as Huck struggles with differing forces of his own conscience and society telling him to turn Jim in, Huck realizes the truth in his own morality, and his choice to live as a self-reliant and stubborn individual is confirmed. So it's not the strongest thesis yet, but it's the direction that I want the rest of my essay to head in. And already I put HapMat together, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 really good, really complex sentences that are going to lead me to write the rest of my essay. So your goals for today are to select the prompt you want to write about, and also select the direction, the stance that you sort of want to take in regards to that prompt. Then I want you to try to use HapMat to write an introduction to your essay. And you can write this directly into your essay, because I've got that set up for you. If you open this assignment, obviously it doesn't look this way because this is the teacher mode, but I've got your essays all ready to go, so you can ready to start typing. Feel free to use the outline that I provided, or even just go ahead and start typing here. If you have time, what we're going to do next is then we're going to start looking at the essential chapters, and I'm going to outline those for you tomorrow, and select 3 pieces of evidence that are going to support your idea and your stance. All right, best of luck. Go get them. I believe in you. You're all great writers. You all will be better writers by the end of this. Cheers.